Hi all, hope you're doing great. Happy New Year. Hope the best wishes. Hopefully it's better than the last one. I know it's a low standard, but it's where we are. So today I have a Udaloi game for you guys. I've been working on the Russian destroyer Tech 3. I finished one, got to Kaba, so then I started slowly playing through the other one. So I played Ognjevoy, and I really didn't know what to do with that ship. It felt like it didn't really have a lot of DPM. The torps, I think, were only 8k, and I was kind of struggling. A division mate suggested, he said I play it as a little ninja DD, ninja torp DD. And I was like, you know what? Let me try that. So I tried it and primarily relied on my torps, and I did okay. But I was kind of glad to leave it behind. So now I come to Udaloi, and okay, it has 50% more DPM than Ognjevoy. No, that's still not a lot. That's like Yogumo's DPM. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I do here? Okay, my torps are slightly longer. They go up to 10k, but I have a ship that has much worse concealment. With my build, it's 7.2k. So it's not like I'm going to be capping a lot. It's easy to spot me. I mean, thank God for the radio location skill. Otherwise, I would never be able to find the opposing DD unless it's radared or it's firing. So I think with that, I had few games in Udaloi, and so far I actually like it better than Ognjevoy. Okay, here it's not really a pure DD, Torp DD. It's more like a combination of the guns and torps and relying on radio location and kind of a good timing when the opposing destroyer is capping to kind of try and, maybe go a little bit into them. And also playing it like a smaller Tashkent. I think in terms of the PM, it's very similar. In terms of torps, I think it has longer torps. Um, and that makes it a little more convenient to try to torp the battleships. And given that it's also smaller, it's a little more maneuverable. Now, I say a little more. It's not that maneuverable. It's like if you're not paying attention and you're caught broadside, a salvo may easily hit you because by the time you turn, it may be against your sides already, so a little too late. But playing it like a little bit like a Tashkent, peppering bigger ships with your HE, using the 10k torps, using the radio location to see where other DDs are. Now, you have to be careful, right? Because you don't have a lot of DPM. What you do have is heals. And with the heals and, pretty solid health pool, you can take some damage and you can still dish it out. And some other DDs who don't have the same luxury of the heals may be in trouble. Now, I'm not gonna go against, very high DPM tier 9 DDs. I'll try to steer clear of those or just take pot shots. But the ones that are in the same league or maybe slightly higher, it's a fair game, especially if I can get the support of my team. I know that's nothing new, that's always the case, right? But it's good to keep in mind, especially with this kind of destroyer. Now, in this game, I kind of had a little bit of luck, and I think you always need that, right? I think that Chungmu radared me there, and I didn't really expect to fight her, but when I saw her, I was like, all right, well, I'm not leaving now. Let's see if I can do a little more damage. And, with a little help of my friends, she went down. So that was a good outcome. But I saw Tashkent came. I saw Fletcher was around there that spotted me earlier. So that was just a little too much heat, too many destroyers for me, and I certainly didn't want to have them ganging up on me. So I'm like, why don't I just send some preemptive torps and start falling back, hoping that some other opportunities may come up for me to re-engage. They have two DDs, three BBs, and a cruiser, and I'm like, okay, well that's almost half their team. I think, given where we are, it's probably better to be in a position to slowly fall back and not fight them out up front. So I just took a step back from the cap, went further back, and looking for targets, trying to see if my ships are gonna fall back, and then maybe waiting for those battleships. Here, I get lucky. My torps find the Fletcher, and that was just a very nice depth strike. Suddenly feeling a little better because I know with Tashkent I can spot him. We're about the same concealment, and there is no radar, thankfully, no CV here either. So you can kind of play a little closer. So I'm just circling and waiting to see what's going to emerge. Brindisi, it's coming down the right flank, and I can see him. And here, I'm like, okay, well, let me see where he's gonna come out. Maybe I'll send some torps. I looked at the map. I look where my cruiser is. I'm like, well, he's probably gonna turn, you know, sooner rather than later, and head towards us instead of exposing his broadside. But anyway, I opened the smoke, and I'm like, okay, let's see. Maybe I'll just farm him a little bit and get some damage. Switch to AP, try to do a little more damage given where his broadside is. Obviously, he's not doing at all what I expected him to do. But, as long as Tashkent doesn't get too close, and given that I have other friendly ships here, I decided to stay in my smoke a little longer than I would, given that Brindisi is not that far, and salvo from Sap uh, would make a short work, either short work of me or do me a lot of damage. So now we got some torps coming from, this is probably from Tashkent. Move a little bit. Brindisi tempted her fate a little too long, and she's gone. So turning back, looking to see what targets can we engage. I mean, by this point, we're doing okay. We are two ship advantage. Tashkent's coming down and peppering my um, teammates. So I'm looking for an opportunity here to do some damage while he's preoccupied and also force him to not apply so much pressure on I guess primarily John DeWitt here. So just firing and trying to keep my back towards the battleships for some random salvo that could do some serious damage for me. Here I'm trying to disengage a little bit, and I think he's taking advantage of this opportunity to keep firing at me. And I think I lost like 2.5k of health basically while I was doing this. But I just thought the BB, especially the Zuma, was getting a little too close, and um, I'd rather go back in the stealth mode instead of just being exposed as a target. So now I see he's continuing to pursue, I think primarily the cruiser. So I'm getting in a position to get a little closer. I'm not the best of shots, so these guns are pretty fast. But once I get a little closer, I can do a little more damage. So I decide to engage here and see what we can do because he's a little too far from his support. My teammates are closer to me, so a few salvos may not hurt. And I think here he started to kind of lose his health pretty soon. I think in retrospect, perhaps I should have actually pursued him instead of continuing to kite. But 2020, it's always a little too little too late. Here he reverses, which is kind of a standard DD. You little reverse, you go for, and he throws off my aim. By the time I get back on track, it's the third salvo, and I think he's also using up his heal. I guess if I was closer to him, this would have been a good chance to maybe take him off the board, but I failed. And now that he's going away from me and, very low profile, I decide to switch on a much closer target. A, I'm trying to go stealthy, and B, I see Zumo coming down, so I don't want to get trapped here against the border. So slowly push back out west. It's turning around, send another set of torps, and here you can send three volleys of five, but only two per side because you have one on each side and one in the middle. It can go either left or right. And sometimes I really forget on one side because I'm only on, going one side or the other side to kind of turn around and use those torps. Izumo eats two torps, get some fires if I can, and just whittle him down. Nobody's that close to really do too much damage on me. And Izumo goes down. And now I'm pretty far. I mean, even the Jean Bart is like 12k almost at the end of my range. By this point, the enemy team is down to 3 ships, so it's pretty much foregone conclusion. And while on this flank, we were pretty busy the entire fight because it was even, if not, we were the weaker side. By this point, it's just a matter of mopping up. So I'm looking to get a little closer to Jean Part, get some more damage. I see Tashkent is a little further out. Now, my sense is that Tashkent is a pretty good player, and I kind of wanted to not get too close to him. But here, trying to get some fire, and as I said, this HE DPM is Yogumo, kind of in terms of how high it is and how much fire you can put on another ship. But, with fires and with the distance and with the speed, it kind of works, I have to say. I think Udaloi somehow appears to be working better, a little more entertaining. I mean, Tashkent, I liked. It was kind of nice to play, and for me, that's always the case. If it's a cruiser or a destroyer, if I'm in a kiting position and I get to do a lot of HEDPM, it's A, fun, and B, it's easier, and maybe that's why I enjoy it so much. And here with this destroyer, I think you're somewhat in a similar category, except you're a little more maneuverable, longer range torps, and you have a heal that helps. So, then you add the smoke and DFAA. I didn't really use it a lot, and I think the AA is not that good, and even with the DFAA, it's not gonna really save you, but it helps. So overall, I'm kind of early in the Udaloi grind, and I have a lot more to do, but it looks like it may not be as painful as some other ships that I had to go through. Overall, not a bad game. And I think to me, as long as I think of Udaloi as a smaller Tashkent, and I have to say again, the radio location, oh my God, it's a great help with the ship. And maybe some people don't use it, but to me, it makes up for a lot what you lack in concealment because it allows you to know where, the enemy DDs are. And once more ships are on the board, you can kind of look to chart your course. So that's it for me. Just a quick video on Udaloi. I hope your new year is up to a great start. And that's it from me. Best of luck on the high seas. Maro out.